under, I was just talking to you.
Okay, it's 5:35, January 22nd, 2024. I'm opening the Granby Planning Board meeting. Okay, we've got some minutes.
No minutes.
No minutes? What do we have here?
Are those old minutes?
These are the old ones.
Yeah, well, those are ones I think, yeah, I recall that you continued to act on them, so they were never acted upon. I think those are from March.
It's,
I don't have any additional ones, but I don't think you acted on those. But we can, for the next meeting, I can provide the board with the ones that you have to take action.
why don't we do that, if you don't mind? Okay, there's a memo out. Our annual town report is due on the 21st of February.
Yep.
Okay, you're aware of that. And then there's a memo out for campaign disclosure reports. Everybody's aware of that. Okay, is there a Robert Murphy here? Let's give him a minute. We can't start the hearing until 5:45.
Got lots of them.
Are you here for the Robert Murphy discussion? No? No. Are you here for the Robert Murphy discussion?
No.
Okay.
Robert Murphy discussion on the subdivision one, that's up on forward.
Oh, I have that one.
For a continuation.
Okay. That's what they went under.
Was there paperwork related to this Robert Murphy subdivision?
We're supposed to come in and discuss for the subdivision.
Yeah, if you could sign in, that would be great. This is me from our last meeting. Before us. Are you here for the Robert Murphy? Yes. Okay. Yeah. What? Oh,
We're gonna have to
sorry.
hold off on it right now. It's 5:44. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn our regular planning board meeting.
I'll make a motion to adjourn the regular meeting.
Do you have a second?
Second?
Do you have a second? All in favor? Aye. Motion to close the meeting passes. For the hearing, and anybody that wishes to speak going forward, once we open up, if you please sign in. Okay, it's 5:45. We're going to open our hearing.
In accordance with MGL Chapter 40A, Section 11, the Granby Zoning Board of Appeals and the Granby Planning Board will hold a joint public hearing on January 22nd, 2024 at 5:45 PM at 1 Library Lane, Old Carnegie Library, top floor, Granby, Mass. The nature of the hearing is to consider the petition of Paul and Teresa Mason, owner applicant, seeking a special permit and site plan approval for an antique shop in an accessory barn building. Under Section 6.2 of the Granby zoning bylaws and applicable of Section 3, use regulations 3.7.3, home shop at 4 Porter Street and known as Assessor's Map 9B-A-3 in the town of Granby, Mass.
To my right is the Zoning Board of Appeals. If they'd like to introduce themselves, Kathy Brown is the chair.
Yes, good evening. I'm Kathleen Bronner, Chair of the ZBA, and
Brian Tromke, member of the ZBA.
Ron Harrell, member. Jeremy Carrier, member of Zoning Board of Appeals.
Planning Board.
Mr. Laflamme.
Nathan Laflamme, member.
Jim Tromke, chair.
Nita Abbott, member.
Jason Sneedle, vice chair.
And Mrs. St. Germain, secretary.
Okay, does the applicant want to present what your intentions are?
This is scary.
Don't be scared.
We'll just ask questions, don't worry.
You don't ask everybody's name, because I only know like one or two.
That's okay.
Our plan is to try and open up an antique shop in our barn, and I explained before, the reason that this came about is because we can only have 2 per year because of the tag sale laws or whatever for the town. Our hope is to be able to open up at least seasonally, once or twice a week, no more than that. We both work full-time, we're teachers. We also have the summers off, which we can kind of have pop-up sales, but it's really just to have more than the 2 that are allotted over the year.
There's more than enough parking on site. It's not like it's a frenzy of like 30 or 40 cars. It's just, periodically maybe being open. So it's not like every weekend over the summer or during the week. It's just periodically throughout the year.
Board have any questions?
Yeah, thank you for being here and presenting. Now, in looking at your plans, and I just want to ask questions, is that, and thank you for the detailed information. You made note of 32 car slots, and I know we have received feedback from both the police department and Board of Health, just worried about traffic concerns because of, your beautiful plans show 32 parking spaces, and that where you're located, which is absolutely gorgeous, it's a tough corner there. So could you just explain a little bit more what your idea was to have that kind of expansive parking available?
Well, the time that did happen too was during the pandemic, in reference to the Board of Health. The police officer showed up and said, you have to make sure everybody's wearing masks 6 feet apart, which we all were doing. So I think something came up in reference to that at that moment.
Okay.
But in reference to pulling to the driveway, if you know the car behind us, there is more than 32 parking spaces. We park on the lawn. So there's more to that than that is available.
I think those would be available, like if we had special events, maybe 2 or 3 times during the year.
Okay.
Which is, like we have a holiday sale, and there's no way that even that amount of people fill up those spots. It's just in case. I mean, if we're so lucky to be granted to do this, then we might get more, people to shop during those special events, but right now it's kind of just family and friends, and so that's why we wanted to expand the parking, just show that there is enough room there.
Okay, yeah. I believe what the police department in their letter to us expressed, just traffic complications. Center Street, around the common there is very, there's not too many options for parking on the street there.
So it's back to like Common Street too?
Yeah.
That way in that direction as well.
Yeah.
We have like an additional spot down below where people can pull in the back entrance as well.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
Okay.
Yeah, I think, excuse me, Jeremy Carrier, just with the Granby Police Department's letter that's in front of me, that was one of the main concerns, because you also have a narrow street there on Common Street. So if you start parking along any of those other streets, you're also going to hinder any access for emergency vehicles going up and down those roads. As a former member of the fire department for 16 years, that with normal usage from residents is very limited for space. I believe the other thing that brought up on here was the fact that you have one way in and one way out, correct, on your plans?
On the plans, yeah.
Yeah, so that would be another concern, is that if you have people parked in there, you're going to be very limited, either ambulance access, even police if there was a need to be. So that's a concern I kind of have with the plans that are on there. But I had a question in response to you saying too, that you said you're going to be looking at possibly being open 1 or 2 times a week. Okay, my thing is, how would you be planning to actually indicate to people that you're open? how would the awareness be to people that, okay, today's a Tuesday and we're open versus next week we're open, Thursday, Friday?
Well, once we pick the day, it would probably be consistent. Like I said, we're both teachers, we can't be open during the week. Maybe in the summer, yes. Sometimes it's just by appointment or drop-in, but it would most likely be one of the weekend days. And we probably advertise through Facebook and just all the regular.
It's kind of a rarity that would be open during the week. It's more like on a Saturday or Sunday, maybe, specific hours, maybe like 9 to 2 or somewhere in there. But it's not going to be like this consistent every day, from 8 in the morning until 5 at night. We just can't do that. It's been pretty limited. It's just a matter of, I think,
It's almost like a tag sale, but just.
yeah, getting us out there to be like, okay, drawing people into the community, make sure they're going to shop, not just our place, but all the other places as well.
Okay, thank you for answering that.
Thank you. Kathy Bronner, I just have one more. Did I interrupt something?
No, go ahead.
Okay.
Finish it.
I'm just going through the Board of Health letter and just trying to address any of the concerns that they may have brought up. Would be reasonable. Now, they do refer to the potential demands on sewage disposal and created by business activity supported by parking places. 34 parking is significant, but I think you've addressed that. Before that business use is allowed, that demand determined and the appropriate sewage disposal system must be designed, approved, and installed. To date, none of these activities has occurred. With the live and soil in this area, this may be a significant undertaking. Have you spoken to anyone from the Board of Health in regards?
No, I didn't even know they had letters.
Oh, I'm sorry, okay.
I didn't get a copy of the
Police department,
letters. Right. I didn't
Yeah.
know that there was.
It's like, almost like if you're going down to Frank's Farm down the road, whatever.
Yeah, the old chateau.
Not there, like,
If you'd like to step forward, I'll give you the copies that I have from each of those departments.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Being
oh, thank
reviewed.
you.
So that way you have them.
Yeah, you should have received them.
I think the Board of Health's concern was capacity of the septic system, which...
It was,
which-
yeah, if they were expecting to use all those 34 spaces, but I'm not hearing that.
But I'm also thinking that they're not putting in a facility for them to be using the septic system.
Yeah.
No public restroom.
What's that?
No public restroom.
Yeah,
There's no public restrooms, right?
Nothing in the barn.
no, that's not a plan of like, stay there for 6-7 hours, shop, eat whatever, it's just like, no, and then,
In and out.
It's literally like a tag sale.
Right.
What.
Right, so you're not enhancing, you're not adding facilities to support, okay.
Correct.
When you're having tag sales currently, how many people have you had at a time? And was there issues pulling in, or was there issues with parking? Had people parked on the street?
I would say the most cars we've ever had, maybe a dozen,
I was gonna say 15, maybe.
like 15.
And they've all been able to park at your
Yes.
property?
Okay, so it's not like they're all coming in at once?
Right,
like
it's
a
kind
whole
of like,
bombardment, it's like,
we've never had cars like double parked or anything, like, it's just in and out. It's not like this huge place to stay
Right.
a while and shop. It's,
So when you advertised your tag sales previously, did you use the same methods of advertisement, Facebook, things like that?
we're
just
We're
signs.
very, very, like, Facebook and all that, very challenged.
Okay. That's okay.
Put it out there.
That's okay.
So, even just to post something, it's a miracle. So we need to, like, I would like to try and get it into a newspaper or something maybe, and have kind of like a little grand opening at some point. And again, that's when, if we did have something bigger, we'd like to work with the police department or whatever and see if we could even, rent out parking in the church or whatever, but I just don't see it getting that big. We're just small, so.
So is anyone here from the Board of Health tonight, or?
Is anyone?
It just says this is far from a mom and pop business proposal. I'm not quite sure what that means.
We're not quite sure either.
I think...
We haven't had a chance to question them on it.
No, we haven't. We just received the communique. I think what may have thrown them off or brought concern was that in the diagram with the 34 parking spaces, and I mean, it was very detailed, so I think it gave the impression of a more substantial ongoing business than maybe what you're intending.
I know even from my perspective, looking at it, when I pull into any other business in town, other than CVS, and you're like dwarfing them in
Yeah,
parking
well, like I
spaces.
said, it's all grass, like it's, I mean,
So you're not looking at doing any type of other thing than leaving it as grass?
it's just grass, right? Where
So
they're
you're
parking.
not going to do any hard pack, you're not going to change the surfacing?
I wish I had the money for that.
Well, I think that was the other concern, that's if you
Yeah.
with the highway department, because of your drainage off of there, and then even with the health department.
So I was going to say, too, like, this thing came up here on drainage.
Yep.
In reference to Town of Granby Highway Department. What does that mean, drainage?
Because there again, you're looking at parking, so if you're considering an area parking most of the time, they would usually be looking at, you're gonna either put some type of a hard pack in, some type of surface, that's gonna make it impermeable to rainwater. You're gonna have runoff from that.
Okay, gotcha.
And even for special permits, we have to look at, will you be affecting the area around it? Are you gonna be having water runoff? Are you gonna contaminate areas with, say if you're parking on grass, do you have an area where, if you have spills of any type of motor vehicle fluids, where are they gonna go? That type of thing might come up where the highway department would be concerned.
Yeah, they brought that up before.
What's that?
I said they brought that up before, that doesn't carry any weight.
Overkill with the parking, like, I didn't know. I'm like,
Makes more sense to me that if it was grass area versus
Right.
repaving the whole thing.
It's not going to stay that way. If you look at the plans are in front of you, it's going to stay like grass.
grass.
It's less visual impact, in my
Yeah.
opinion, too.
Anything else? CBA?
Any other questions? Ron?
I was just wondering if the issue of the one way in and one way out, would it be, I know you have frontage up on North Street, would it be possible to make an exit out on, come in one way and out on North Street? As a,
It's a monetary thing for us, to be honest with you. We don't have like the lucrative.
I mean, you don't have to make a road or anything, I mean, a paved road or anything.
Well, just
but-
like we have a cut through now,
We do have a cut through down
on
lower.
lower, we can do it. I mean, is that possible?
Yeah, I know where
The
that is.
town lets
On the
Jen
lower part over there? Yeah.
make a cut through to the top, right onto, what is that?
Well,
number?
I think his concern was that the driveway was at least wide enough for two vehicles.
Right.
So there
Right.
could-
Yeah.
For two-way traffic.
I mean, you have grass on both sides of the driveway, which the driveway's not paved to begin with. So you do have access in and out, like maybe for 2 or 3 cars possibly, if that makes sense.
So it's wide enough where you,
Wide enough for,
one vehicle could be
for
exiting.
a car going one way, an ambulance going
Yeah.
another, just to say.
Yeah.
Okay.
That was kind of the discussion that
Yeah.
I got out of the letter.
Yeah.
So, anyway, anything else from ZBA at this point?
Any other
All right.
questions now?
Anybody over here?
Nope.
Okay. So, with that being said, I'm going to open up to the public, if anybody has any questions or concerns.
Any neighbors,
abutters?
please?
State your name.
Chris Lennox, 13 North Street, my wife with me too, Dawn. They've had a couple yard sales, I haven't seen any traffic problems, and they're quiet over there, I think it's a pretty good fit for the neighborhood.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And support them.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Thank you.
Anybody else?
6 Common Street, so there are just 2 houses to the left. They've had a few events. It's kind of nice to see somebody trying to open up something modest and gradually. They've had no issue with parking with people on site. We've even been invited, but we walked up there.
Anybody else?
Granby Preservation, we don't have an issue. You've discussed the parking. I've been to a tag sale. I didn't see any problems with their parking.
Anybody else? Okay. So you mentioned, it's kind of, in my opinion, it's going to be hard to issue a permit for 3 days or 3 weekends out of the year. We got to put some, if we're in favor of approving this,
Right.
then we need to put some conditions on it, so there's something to manage it by.
Right.
So in other words, you mentioned your hours. What would your hours of operation be? You said,
Probably like 10 a.m. to no later than 2 to 4 in the afternoon.
That would be strictly purchased on weekends.
Well, we already know that, like, just in the summers, we might have a pop-up sale or something, but again, it's probably gonna be to the masses, which is weekends.
so if we said, and we don't know what weekends it's going to be,
Right.
and I'd be in favor of just a blanket permit for the year,
Yep.
10 to 2, Saturdays and Sundays, unless there's a holiday on a Monday, like, or 4th of July or something like that, I'd be okay with that too,
Okay. And then by appointment, they can still do things by appointment.
if it's by appointment.
Yeah.
Does that cover the weekends as well? I mean, the
Jim?
summer, they said they didn't work during the summer.
Jim,
So in the summers, are you
would you mind giving
intending on
flexibility of 4
having
o'clock
it open
instead of
the
10
whole
to 2?
summer? Okay.
We just
You're
don't
gonna
have
do it.
inventory to make it
Yeah.
sustainable to keep it open all
I
summer.
know, we sell at Bridgefield 3 times a year, and that usually wipes out our inventory.
Yep.
And again, it would never be open during the week, it would be
Okay.
just the weekends.
So,
And it's seasonal, we do not have heat in the barn, so
Yeah, during
right now it's
winter time
closed.
it's not even open, so it's just, if you kind of happen to chance to pass through, maybe, but it's not like, you know.
I'm not going out there. It's too cold. Yeah, I would say maybe after May Brimfield, which is usually mid-May, we would start maybe being open.
so
Well,
maybe,
to be honest with you, I've been on the board for a while. We changed the zoning in the village, to the village common, to open up business for just this type of thing. So I'm in favor of it. I think we need to,
tighten the restriction a little bit.
yeah,
So if you, so 104 times per year, which would be 2 times per week for 1 calendar year, and by appointment.
so is there any more discussion from the public?
Would it be opening at night if you're saying by appointment, that it open at night?
Well, it wouldn't be open to the public.
Right.
If it was by appointment, it would just be a one's,
We couldn't manage that. It could be a
Right.
friend for all we know.
Right.
There's one vehicle coming
The
in.
only
so-
time we would be open in the evening is a Christmas event. That's when we usually, that's 1 time a year.
Any further discussion from the audience? Okay, I'll entertain a motion to close the public portion of this meeting.
I'll make a motion to close the public.
We have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. So, to give a little more latitude, as Kathy mentioned, give a little latitude, 4 o'clock, 10 to 4 p.m.
Yeah.
so 10 to 4, okay.
No, I would say no on-street parking.
Okay.
Can I just ask a quick question, like, is that our redirection to, if somebody does park there, to then revamp it?
Yeah, I closed the public portion of the meeting. Well, we can identify that in the conditions.
So, so 10 to 4 on weekends, including holidays?
Yes. This is for us to discuss at this point.
By appointment.
If they advertise on Facebook or something, they could put no parking on the street with a ad.
Yeah, take ownership of it.
Park in front of the...
Yeah, it would be their
And
responsibility.
then I think if anything should change as far as it becoming more of a full-time business where it's open Monday through Friday other than weekends.
Anything that deviates from the conditions we lay out,
Yeah.
they have to come back before
Yeah.
us.
Yeah, like the condition of market, just confirm.
No public restroom.
Right, no public restrooms? Do you guys
I wouldn't have an issue if they, on an event, if they brought in
A standing can, okay,
because it's tucked away out of the public view, so it's...
okay. So then we'll take out no public restroom if they want to have a standing can. Okay. Okay, so I think 10 to 4 weekends, including holidays, 50 year-round, no on-street parking, and by appointment during the week.
Anybody else? Marijuana?
Oh, I just
do it any other
I just wanted to
Not yet.
clarify what you have been discussing as far as possible condition. Open 10 to 4 on weekends, including holidays. That's number 1. Number 2, no on-street parking. Number 3, can be open by appointment during the week. Yeah, and I think you mentioned, Mr. Chair, as far as if there's any deviation from the plan, that they have to come, and visit the boards again if they need to. But this is for the site plan, the ZBA will be acting on their permit.
Correct. Any large event, they should probably consult with the Granby PD to see if they need a detail there.
Large events, meaning how many people? Cars. If they have
Any-
accommodations for 30,
And that's all they can have is 30.
right?
I would, it's not just about this, how many parking places, how many people are going to be in and out.
Right.
If it's going to be a large event, so,
Okay. So large event, police detail?
police detail will be required.
Or maybe you can just say something generally, any large event, consult with the Granby Police Department,
Okay.
in addition to the other permits that they may have to pull.
Granby PD.
Anything else? Anybody have anything else?
Okay, so I'll make a motion, to approve, subject to, the business hours being 10 to 4 on weekends, including holidays, no on-street parking, by appointment only during the week. Any large events, you will have to consult with the Granby PD and pull any permits necessary with the town.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. Now I'll entertain close the public hearing.
I make the motion to close our public hearing.
A second?
Second. Any further discussion?
No.
All in favor? Aye.
Okay. Let's discuss. Okay, what we need to do now is for the ZBA, excuse me, you're not done yet. Sorry.
If you want us.
You're close.
If you want.
Just so we could explain,
So we,
the site plan approval process has taken place from the planning board, now it's over to ZBA.
for the special permit for the variance, okay. And what we need to do to see for the site approval to be approved. And what, as the ZBA here, what I'd like to put out for discussion for the committee, I agree with all the stipulations of the site plan that was stated, and I'm just going to recount them, make sure I have them right. So hours of operation, 10 to 4, and 10 to 4 on weekends and holidays, seasonal operation, no on-street parking, and I, as an owner, would take responsibility to ensure no on-street parking. Let's see, deviating from any of the above conditions. And open by appointment during the week. Now, Jeremy?
No, my concern with that would be is maybe the zoning board should look into, should we have a stipulation as how many appointments? So that it doesn't become well, we made 20 appointments for tonight, happens to be in the middle of the week, and all of a sudden we're getting an influx of traffic. Does the board feel like that would be needed?
That's pretty hard to control. I know what you're saying.
You're going to get 30 people on one night to come in.
Yeah.
All right, just putting it out there.
No, that's good. And
Come in bus.
And that any large event that they have agreed to consult with the police department, and if so, pull any necessary permits if you're having a special permit and so forth. Are there any other issues or conditions?
No, I don't have any.
No.
Okay. What I'd like to do then is make a motion for the applicants to receive the special permit based on with the stipulations as noted in the site plan approval by the planning board. And I will list the same on our, and that we're in agreement. So I'd like to make a motion to approve the special permit based on the conditions as noted by the planning board site approval. Is there a second or discussion?
I second the motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Now you're done.
So just so you know, there's a 20-day,
Yes.
you'll get a letter from us, as well as ZBA, there's a 20-day appeal process.
All right.
And then we'll be all set.
Thank you very much, appreciate it.
Good luck.
Good night.
Can I send it to the clerk? I'll scan it to you and make sure that,
There's like support from the neighbors.
that
Yeah.
I have to throw something extra in. If I try to do it now, I won't be neat. If I write it out now, I won't be neat.
Yes.
Okay.
By the time I got home, I was over.
I used to do shorthand. Oh, do we need to make a motion to adjourn?
Yes.
Shall I make a motion for the ZBA to adjourn? Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Thank you. We're out of here.
Okay, the planning board's going to go back in session. It is 6:16.
No, it would be nice.
Next on the agenda.
You're mowing stuff. Down installed.
I'm going to open the public hearing. In accordance with MGL Chapter 40A, Section 11, the Granby Planning Board will hold a public hearing on January 22nd, 2024 at 6:15 at 1 Library Lane, Old Carnegie Library, top floor, Granby, Mass. The nature of the hearing is to consider the petition of KHL Group, LLC, applicant owner, seeking site plan approval under section 6.3 of the Granby zoning bylaws, 3.5.4 restaurant and 3.4.10 recreation area regarding a proposed restaurant driving range located at 172 West State Street and known as Assessor's Map 3, Parcel G9 in the town of Granby, Mass.
Thanks, Jason. Is the applicant here? Would you like to present?
Oh, yeah, come on up. Hello, I'm Matthew Massengill, and this is Isaac. He's going to be the manager of cruisins in the driving range. And we're here tonight to basically state that we want to keep the driving range and the restaurant as it always have been, and he wants to start his business there and get it growing, you know, and serve food and have people use the drive.
Hours of operation?
I believe we will be operating from 10 a.m. until 8.
No other changes as far as you're gonna run the restaurant as it's been run, same hours?
Yes.
Driving range the same?
Yes.
No changes whatsoever? Board, have any questions for them?
I don't think so, since there's been no changes.
With that said, I'll open it up to public if anybody has any concerns, comments.
George Randall, 52 Taylor. I've had the pleasure of meeting Isaac a while back. It's not every day that you get somebody that wants to come into Granby and spend $1 million to operate a business. I highly encourage the planning board to work to a favorable response to Isaac, and let's get him open. I wouldn't want to have his nut to crack every month. It's important to have a business come into Granby that we can keep in business, and I think he's going to do a fine job and be a good neighbor to everybody here in Granby.
Okay, thank you. Thanks. Anybody else?
174 West State Street, right next to it.
So you're the closest residential?
Yeah, so I'm just kind of wondering what that neighborly thing was about, but we've never met him. So I just have a question of, just regular people coming? Is there going to be like any big parties or anybody that's going to be using I think there's a disco or some kind of thing in the back, the wooded area that he built? Is there going to be loud music till?
I mean, aside from the music or whatever that plays during the daytime and the speakers and stuff like that, I mean, we will have like events like, people want to have a host like birthday parties or other events like that.
Okay.
But outside of that, I don't foresee any issue with loud noise or.
Okay. Because when you were already cleaning it and everything, we were having music that was not appropriate, and my grandson was there.
Oh, okay.
And there was really not this was an adult version music, and my grandson is this big, and so I'm not sure. I want to make sure that we're all on the same page as this is going to be a family place.
Yes, I assure you we'll pay attention to that stuff and make sure that there's no inappropriate music or loud noise or anything like that.
Okay, and you said it's from 10 a.m. to 8 p.m.?
Yes.
Okay, and then after 8 p.m., all the lights, because believe it or not, my bedroom is right there. So when you're golfing at 8:10 and 8:15 and 8 then You know, I work every day.
Yes.
So I just wanted to make sure that was clear. And then, yeah, that's all I just pretty much really wanted to say. Is, like I said, my bedroom is right there.
So if they're open till 8 PM, the lights go off at 8 PM, you're okay with that? I'm asking.
Oh, yes, no, yeah, I mean, yeah, and are you open on the weekends? Is that gonna be?
Yes, we'll be open on the weekends.
So 7 days a week, 10 to 8? Okay, yeah, just like I said, the music needs to be, I moved to this town because it was a lot of families, I wanna see, you know, deer and stuff like that. I don't wanna see, you know, people tearing out of your driveway and, you know, we have a lot of families around our area.
There's bylaws in place to manage some of that, including the decibel level.
Yes.
Okay.
We'll make sure that nobody's disturbed, or if there's any issue or complaints, come address me and we'll take it.
And now, are you gonna be there every day, or?
Yes.
And there was birthday parties and corporate events prior.
Yes.
Any other comments from the public?
Yeah, so I welcome new business to the town. I live across the street. My name is Glenn Martin, and 177 West 8th Street, which is same distance to there as folks. And anyway, my only concern really is the music. I guess I would much prefer if we can have a quiet town and not have music blaring all the time. And anyway, that's all I have to say. If there's some way to accommodate, I would really appreciate that.
Do you have any suggestions on how that could be written into the condition?
Well, I think you said it, Mr. Chair, conditioning the time of the operation of the business and then the decibels. I mean, unless you were to require some sort of look back, like if after a couple, like maybe this busy summer months and then measuring sound, but that would be, I think.
Well, there's issues with bleed over, including with light.
Sure.
So I know there shouldn't be any speakers adjacent any of the properties, that close to the property.
We can hear everything.
I think the speakers are on the main building.
Yes.
And they blare from there?
Focus out.
And was there music prior?
Yes.
Okay, but it's just...
But he played the 50s and...
Right, it was a 50s diner.
Oh,
you know, so that's the type of...
Oh, so you just don't like the music?
I like the music.
I mean, there's also on the other side, there's a daycare.
Right.
Sure.
With young kids.
So maybe just, I mean, there's no way, I guess censored music, just...
I'll make sure to make attention to that.
Just
make
so
sure there's nothing inappropriate or...
Right. I mean, we can't monitor what type of music you play.
I'm not saying we should, but the decibel rating, it shouldn't be bleeding over to the neighbors, especially in the...
Right.
But as long as it's clean, and I agree, there is residential right next door as well as the daycare, you're absolutely right.
So we have to say respect your neighbors.
Mr. Chair, can I ask a question? So the current lighting, I guess, is it just what currently, like you have in the building? Are there other lights with the driving range in the rear?
There are lights in the miniature golf area as well as facing out in the field, the driving range.
Okay.
That's the major lighting that we have.
So presumably at 8 o'clock, that would be...
Yeah, it's going to be off.
Right. Is there a, what is the sign to your building?
We just have our standing sign that's just right at the end of the property right there in the front, but it's just...
Is it lit and is it underlit? I can't remember.
There is, I have actually positioned some spotlights, like the solar powered ones, just to cut on when the sun goes down and stuff, but outside of that, there's no other lighting on the sign.
Did you add lights?
What type of lights?
No, was it lit before?
I think it had some minor lighting, but no, actually the sign doesn't have any light.
Oh, okay, it's just that the building has a light on it.
Yeah.
Okay. You had a question?
Yeah, I was just wondering, obviously in the winter you're gonna close down the driving range part of it. Is the restaurant still?
Yes, we'll be trying to operate during the winter time as well.
I just have one more question. Recreational, are we only doing the baseball and only doing the golf? Is there going to be, other?
Right now, actually, we're more focused on the golf portion of it. The baseball actually has been kind of something that we've been considering, like either taking out or, working something out with it. But for now, right now, the only thing that's going to be in operation is the golf portion.
Okay, and the restaurant?
Yes.
Okay. Good.
Any other questions from the public? So if the board approves this tonight, any deviations from the conditions, you have to come back before us. And any complaints about constant music or anything like that, that's against the conditions, and that could cause the loss of the permit, so, or suspension of the permit, so please. Anything else from the board? So we've got a 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. operating 7 days a week. Decibel levels will be kept
In accordance with the Granby bylaws.
Correct. Lights off at 8 o'clock. Other than that, the establishment will run as it has.
Yes.
So that condition is establishment to operate as restaurant and recreational.
And recreational facility?
Okay.
A sports facility, recreational sports facility?
It's okay.
One more question, just because, so, as you know, we're 174.
Yes.
So, what we've had problems with before in the past, that's why there's these 3 large concrete things in our yard. So what some people do is come into your driveway and then drive through our front yard.
Oh, really?
Well, this has been in the past, so our well is in the front, and that's why we don't want anybody in the front yard. Is there anything that you're going to put up or have thought about between our two, the area?
I would have to look at what you're, like, I'm not, off the top of my head, I'm not aware of exactly what you're talking about.
When you're looking at your building and you're kind of coming around towards it so you can get in the back of your,
You're talking about, on the left side?
Yes.
On the left side of the property, you're
Yes,
talking
that's
about the
right.
gate? Yeah.
Yes,
Okay.
so when the gate comes around and it comes into the front, what was happening was your customers would come in, park, and then they would think that they're driving through our front yard
okay.
to go into, to leave. And, I've spoken to Dennis and that's the viewpoint, but I didn't know if you had anything that you were gonna put up. Like I said, I have 3 concrete things that nobody's gonna get
I
through
see,
those.
I understand, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Because I mow there, and so I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, so I didn't know if you had any, because if people are gonna come around into the back area, that would be a concern.
So technically, our parking lot would end like before that, actually. And so I'll make sure that we put up like some type of either barrier or some cones, at least to direct people away from that issue doesn't occur.
Yeah, perfect.
Should be a condition we'll put some sort of signage or barrier up to prevent. Okay, before I close the public piece of this, is there anything else from the public? It's okay. No, that's all right.
I didn't do my homework and I'm off on the radar right now.
I'm sure they're going to be good neighbors.
We haven't met him yet, so.
All right, so I'll entertain a motion to close the public section piece of this.
So I'll make a motion to close the public.
You have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Is there any other thoughts about this? Any other discussion?
I don't know what appropriate, so signage or barrier to prevent driving on neighbor's property?
I think we need to be more specific about that. That would be on the easterly side of the property, northeast side of the property.
Northeast side.
What's the address there?
Mine is 174.
On the 174 side of the property.
174.
So now I'll entertain a motion.
Alright, so I'll make a motion to approve a driving range and restaurant with hours 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. 7 days a week with no changes to the current property. Music decibels in accordance with Granby bylaws and appropriate signage or barrier to prevent driving on the northeast side of the property, closest to 174.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good luck.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Thank you. Go ahead, yeah. I don't know if people do that anymore. Are people to get cards out anymore?
E-cards.
Yeah.
Good luck, because I really Yeah, so we'll just want to address that.
Okay.
Thank you, board.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Good night.
Robert, anything discussion on subdivision?
Property survey. Surveyor said that I should just come to the board and see this problem. This is a whole piece of property that was, I'm trying to make this focus. Anyways, the piece of property, this is where our house is. That's 10 plus acres. We had that surveyed out 20 years ago, and it's a 50-foot driveway. This is the remaining 22 acres. We were going to, so there's 342-foot frontage there and 25. We were going to take 200 feet off and cut that out, 6 to 8 acres. And he just says to me, he says, oh, there's only 142 here. And he says, that might be a problem with the board.
What's the total size of the property?
This is 22 acres, and this is, so the total size is 32. But this was already taken out of the property 20 years ago.
Oh, that's your, so it's already.
Okay, where are we? What street are we on?
West Street.
This is
This is the, what is it? The little garden centers here.
Class grass.
Yeah, storage center, Class Grass, Porter's building, Bill Porter.
It's not his anymore.
No, I know, but the building.
I'm just trying to get my
This is Bill
bearings
Porter.
here.
That's your family's.
Yep.
And then this field goes here, and this is all wooded behind it, and there's a lot of wetlands here. And then this is the driveway that used to go up with the Christmas tree field. We have a Christmas tree field
And
here.
you said that's 25 feet wide, that driveway?
This one here, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, boy. So
It's a flag lot?
is this Link White's property?
No, this is mine. This is all my property.
Oh, Link's further down.
Yeah, he's right
Okay,
here.
okay,
This is
okay,
his
now
border.
I got my bearings. Not that it-
Where's the
border is
upholstery
here,
shop?
The upholstery shop is
Right there, okay, all right.
So,
Yep.
And this is all wet, this is wet.
This is wet right here.
This,
Yep.
no, this is wet way over.
Okay,
We have a
all right.
driveway that comes in here. There's a road that we put in years ago to get into the fields.
how does that work? We don't have the ability to give him a variance on 142 feet, but does he need one if he's got another 25 feet here?
Typically, it's contiguous.
Okay, that's what I was afraid of. So, everything else, in my opinion, is fine, but we can't grant you the frontage on 142.
I don't follow that.
Well, you wouldn't get an A&R, so, which means it's just like we would sign off on it, you would have to go for a variance.
Okay, but I'm looking to do this. I'm not thinking, he just said because there's not 200-foot frontage between these two, there might be a problem.
You don't need to, you only need 150 feet.
Oh, so I have 150.
Well, whoa, wait a minute. Let me back that statement up. How many acres? There's 37 acres, that's an estate. This would be an estate lot anyway.
This is 22,
So all you need is 45 feet here, right?
But if he's doing a subdivision,
okay, but I could make this instead of 200, I could turn that into 150. Now they each have 171 feet.
Yeah.
how many lots are you looking to?
Well, just one. We're just
Oh.
cutting off one piece. and
So
six
this isn't a
Oh.
subdivision, this is an A&R. Because
Yeah.
a subdivision would be if you're bringing a road in and putting houses in off of
No, we're
it.
not.
This is
there's
a,
okay.
so an A&R is approval not required by the subdivision bylaws. So all you need is
I didn't know, I thought we needed 200-foot frontage.
150 feet unless it's an estate lot, which you need at least 2.5 acres plus
So that's
the
why,
flag.
that's why over here, it's 10 acres, but we only have 50 feet.
Yeah, that's all you need to do. If you're looking to parcel this out and parcel this out,
And we were looking to just keep this and just and sell this.
yeah.
But the surveyor said you should check first, I don't like to do this.
Yeah, because if you have him do all that work, he's got to go back and redo it. But yeah,
Or I'm gonna
Does any-
a lot for something I can't use.
yeah.
So what I would definitely do though is keep this, make this a little bit bigger so you have your 150, that way down the road, if you ever decided to do something with the back,
So give
you
them a
have
minimum of
access.
150.
Yep.
Oh, and I had another question. When it comes in, how far does it have to come in? Because what I want to do is like this, slant it over, because the field comes down to here. So how far deep do I have to, it doesn't, I don't want to go in 50 feet or 75 feet and you say, oh, no, it has to go in 100 feet.
No, it doesn't have to go in any amount as long as, you can't,
There has to be some type of setback, right? He needs some type of setback.
So it's from the interior of the lot?
Yeah.
To the right-of-way? It says the estate lots shall have a minimum street frontage of not less than 40 feet and an access width of not less than 40 feet from the front line to the principal structure.
So this, the wetlands here goes back about 100 feet or 100. So when we get up to this point, we could just cut over. We could just cut right over to the field.
so,
I mean, I don't have, but my question was...
is this passable?
No.
It's not passable, then it won't work. It's got to be passable.
What has to be?
The frontage, if you're going to turn this into a building lot.
But what about if this one's passable?
It's not 40 feet. That's what he's looking at.
Oh, it has to be contiguous, it has to be...
So you're saying that the entrance is not passable at all?
This area isn't, this is wetlands.
Yeah.
All of it?
Yeah, you can't.
Oh, right now?
We had to go to the EPA or wherever it is to put this road in as a farm thing for a buffer, because there's a buffer zone, you have the wetlands and there's a buffer zone of, I think it's 100 feet or so. So you can't be, and this is very wet. This is not.
Yeah, see,
So
they
you were
each have to have their
access
own,
them.
you could use this, but in order for this to become an A&R, it has to have its own access.
So, just so we're clear, he could put this in right now. but that means this, because he's not doing anything with this property right now.
But then this could never be used, subdivided and used. That's what you're saying?
Yeah. Right.
The only other way out is that you have to put a public road in.
A public road?
If you were to subdivide.
If you were to subdivide.
Yeah, but this isn't really, it's not really property to, it's really rough. There would have to be sewer lines and everything because it doesn't pass, this won't pass a perk, this passes a perk. We found.
So then you've got access to it here if you got to get
Right.
to it.
Yeah, we have access.
It's not a legal building lot, but you'd have access to it.
Could they do a shared driveway?
They can, but you still have to show your own, so in other words, you can share a driveway, but we can't consider it a building lot because it doesn't have its own passable frontage.
Now, can I ask you, Jim, if it had 150 for frontage, and this was the driveway over here, would that...
Because he needs...
No, it's got to be continuous.
But
We would have 170 on both sides. This would no longer be 200. That'd be 170, what's that, 160. So this would be over 150, and then that's the driveway. But you said that you have to be able to enter through.
Yeah, you can't, I mean, is there any...
That's a tricky one.
Yeah, is there any way that you can bridge or drive, like...
I think you have to have 40 feet minimum.
For a contiguous.
Yes.
There's no way to do a driveway?
Not through there. There's no way to do anything through there. It's wetlands.
Okay.
And it's wetlands. It's not.
Okay. Yeah.
You know.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Can you answer that?
25 feet, you can't fit a fire truck, right?
I think that's pretty typical. Yeah.
Roads are only, we've knocked them down on subdivisions to 25 feet.
Right.
Right. I mean, what I would do is ask the fire department before you acted, if that's what you wanted to do.
Definitely need a variance.
Well, it seems like you would need a variance if the planning board was to issue an A&R and they weren't meeting the zoning based on the underlying zoning.
What does the zoning say exactly?
For the single-family dwelling on a estate lot?
Yeah.
No more than 2 estate lots may be adjacent to each other at the street line without site plan approval. Additional estate lots up to a total of 5 require site plan approval. The area of each estate lot, including the access strip, shall be a minimum of 80,000 square feet. Any estate lot created must be held in common and contiguous ownership with the front access strip. The estate lot shall have a minimum street frontage of not less than 40 feet and an access width of not less than 40 feet from the front line to the principal structure. The front width of the lot where the principal building is to be constructed shall be 150 feet minimum and parallel to the street line. The 40-foot building setback line is to be measured from the point of the lot where the 150-foot minimum has been satisfied. The access strip shall begin at the street line and end where the 150-foot minimum width has been satisfied.
So 40 feet from the access point from the street. And you're only at 20. 25.
Yeah, so what you were saying in the beginning is
So you can apply for a variance to allow for an estate lot, which would knock the frontage down from 40 to 25, but we cannot do an A&R, correct?
We can't do that.
Right, we can't.
I don't even know if the zoning board of appeals can.
We'll approve that?
Would approve it.
Yeah.
But I'm not,
Right, we're not ZBA.
It's not like it's 38 feet.
Right.
And they require 40, then they.
So if you wanted, you would have to provide other like properties to, maybe to go to the ZBA and say, hey, there's other like properties at, these addresses with 25 feet of frontage.
Well, I mean, that would help the cause if that's what he had to file a variance, but it's not, you know, who knows?
So you came to us with our opinion? You might want to go to them and get their opinion on it before you, the zoning board of appeals. They don't meet very often, they only meet when there's an appeal, so.
With a strong side eye.
Yeah, no, the question I had though first was this main thing. That isn't a problem. Just knock it down to 150 because I might as well keep as much as I can there because it's wetlands anyways. They don't need that. All they need is the road to get in.
Well, all they need is 50 feet or 40 feet over here. Because it's a state lot because they got 6.8 acres.
Oh. Maybe you do a double
You need a setback.
right next to each other?
Right,
You know,
because-
40/80?
You know something, I'm wondering, what if you did a 40-foot here and another 40-foot that came in?
Not
you know what I'm saying?
necessarily, but.
Right into the flag.
But it's just so tough because the wetlands is so, I mean, it's not, it's a buffer zone.
Gotcha.
And to do that, you're gonna have to go to the state.
You have to get it defined, right, I believe.
You'd have to, if you had 80 feet
Yeah,
from this pin
yeah,
to the wetlands,
yeah,
you'd be all right.
yeah, I get it.
You could still use the same driveway as long as that second 40 feet was high and dry.
Yeah.
Is that an RDA or something to get that evaluated? Define where the exact lines are of the wetlands?
Yeah, I don't know how that would.
Yeah, I don't think that, I think it's gonna be a problem because to put this driveway in that's only 10, 15 feet, you had to go to the state. Because it's in the buffer
Within the
zone.
buffer zone.
And it's like, you go just a little ways in, it's not, it just changes there, right on the edge there it changes. When Lincoln White did this, he must have, you know, it seems like it starts getting wet and wet and wetter all the way over to your family's house. You see what it's like.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so if I'm worried, but the main thing was I did want to have this surveyed out, and have it come and say, we can't, the surveyor said they might not like this because they don't like land that's not another building lot.
You can, not in my opinion, you've got access to it, that could be perfectly good farmland.
Yeah.
Why would you need the same specs as a building lot?
Right. Well, they were charging me at one time, when Bill Porter was on thing, they were charging me for this as if it was a building lot. Because the laws changed, they said. They were taxing me on it because they said anything on a state highway, you were gonna be taxed for. I says, is a building lot? He says, well, yeah. I says, so I can build a house there. And he says, no. He says, just.
Yeah, your easiest way out would be to take 15 feet from them.
From them guys?
Yeah.
Huh.
Then you'd have
Yeah.
more than you needed.
Yeah. But anyways, we weren't concerned, like I said, we were concerned about doing that. So, anyways, you answered my questions. Okay. Thank you very much. So if we have that survey, there's no problem with it.
I don't see any problem with it.
If they have any left, I don't know.
Oh, so that was the reason or other thing, because it was good. The survey out and it was all. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Hey, have a good night.
That's it for me.
It's a lot of fun land use stuff tonight.
Yeah.
So there was that one item that had it was on the item that's going to be before the select board.
Yeah.
So I mentioned to the board via email, if you had any comments, to send me them. I did receive.
I'm going to recuse myself before any more discussion goes on.
Yeah, you have keys? They're on this? Okay.
So I don't know if the board had the opportunity to look at that application. It is before the select board. And similar to, you know, any other department reviewing the plans for the planning board to consider. This is a similar process. So I don't know if there are comments, and if there are not, the comments from the planning board would be, there are no comments.
Yeah, I looked it over, I don't have any comments. Do you?
I don't have any comments either.
Do you, Nate?
Okay. So I will prepare a letter on behalf of the planning board that says effectively there are no comments for that.
Do you have any comments?
I don't, I mean, I think I quickly took a look. I don't typically review those. I would have suggested to the select board if they wanted to have a peer review of any sort of engineering of the site. But as far as zoning, I wouldn't have any comments. So if there, an engineer would be able to determine if there were some considerations for the town or the select board to, what they could think about with regards to the earth removal. But that's not something I typically respond to. Yeah, I would have, if the planning board, my suggestion would be, planning board, we should have a review for this particular application because of the amount of earth that being removed. But that's my comment, is that a suggestion of a peer review if the select board found it necessary.
What are your thoughts on that? Should we do a peer review or ask for a peer review?
This is Jim's property though, right? Oh. Doesn't it cost money to the town?
No, it would be put on the applicant.
Oh.
So like the planning board does, let's say that when you had your solar projects, typically an engineer would review them. So this would be something similar. The consideration as a note would be, the planning board suggests that you do a peer review.
Is that mainly because there's so many variables and it's just
It's a lot of
so
earth.
vast
Yeah, it's a
of
lot
a
of
project?
earth to be moved at one time.
More than we can think about with our expertise.
Yeah,
Right, maybe a geologist or something.
Yeah, I'm not a special.
Right, and the thing is, it would be the select board identifying the scope of what that review would look like, if that's something that, they would want to consider. But that would be my comment for any sort of large, removal of earth.
Because it can change patterns, it can change like neighboring septic systems, it can change neighboring, the way that if there's like, little tributaries that are adjacent, I mean, it can change things. I mean, I'm not sure that it would, but it can happen with any construction, whether, yeah. But it is a large amount of earth to be removed. So what are your thoughts? Should we ask for a peer review?
I mean, the thing is,
doesn't have to be-
the planning board can suggest a review, but it's not coming back to the planning board.
Right.
So it would be the select board receiving the comment saying, the planning board is suggesting a peer review, and that's it.
From an engineer.
Yeah, a civil engineer peer review.
So the experts in this type of...
Would review those findings with the select board, and the select board would be responsible if they were to take the planning board's comments to find their engineer, to find what the scope of that review would be like, but that's...
I think that's the right option.
I think so too, because it could change runoff. It really could change anything.
So many things that I don't know if any of us...
It's beyond my scope.
Same here.
Yeah, I mean, if this were before the planning board, I would suggest to the planning board, I think we need a peer review. So, I mean...
So we're just making that suggestion to the select board.
Yeah, you're just making the suggestion to the select board.
Okay.
If they're not already doing that, and you don't know if they are.
Right.
So, I mean, the suggestion could be, the planning board is recommending that a civil engineer peer review be done in regards to this application.
Okay, I think that's fair.
Yeah.
They could take our comment, not take our comment.
And do whatever they want.
They could do whatever they want with it.
Okay, do you want to take a vote so that I can reflect the vote on that?
I'll make a motion for a peer review on the earth removal for,
You should, I think your motion should state, your motion to recommend to the select board a
Okay.
peer review.
so, yeah, so you can write that
Yeah.
into there. Which, can I have that? Okay, so a motion to have the select board, so it is, so it's Trompe Avenue, map 14, block A, parcel 5. Granby.
Map?
So it's map 14,
Okay.
block A, parcel 05,
Okay.
to have a civil engineer
Peer review.
peer review.
And then maybe just add, for it, so recommend to the select board a civil engineer peer review for the earth removal permit at Trompe Avenue, map 14, block A, parcel 5.
Yes. Prior to earth removal.
That's
Did
fine.
they put a mine in? I mean, as far as removal, usually that's what, are they looking for something? Gold?
Yeah.
It's gravel.
Yeah, it's probably
pit.
gravel and sand.
So
Is
same
there a-
thing they've been doing.
Is there a second?
A second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Okay.
So is that everything?
Yeah.
Anything have anything else?
No, I will have for the board actions to take
Yep.
for your minutes for the next meeting, which is scheduled for, it's the second meeting, the second
Yeah, not next
Monday in
Monday.
February.
Yeah.
So that would be February 12th? That's not a holiday, right?
No, I think it was the 13th or 14th.
Oh, it's the 19th,
The
that's
19th.
President's Day.
Yeah.
So it's the 12th is your next meeting.
Okay. All right. So I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Who made the motion?